What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action spawning in the bottom of the map. In the blue color, playing as Odin. His name is ShadowFaxx. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Zeus. His name is Gaboo. The map is 100% competitive Mega Random. It is always competitive Mega Random because we are doing the competitive Mega Random tournament. We are still in the group stages, almost finished, however, with these group stage matches. Going to be moving on to the main bracket really soon. First game going the wayside of Gaboo with his Loki, meaning he can no longer pick Loki. If you win with a god, you can't pick it again. That is kind of the rule set that the Age of Mythology competitive community has sort of settled on. We tried having a god ban and only being able to pick one god or not being able to repeat gods in the Masters Mythology. Meta players has tried this format, and players seem to prefer this one just a little bit more. Just because every civilization is so different, every god is so different, it can be a little bit challenging to make that work. But now Gaboo has to move away from his tried and true Loki. Being a Loki one trick makes these tournaments pretty hard to participate in and do well. But we'll see how his Zeus is going to be going here. Zeus can be fairly similar to Loki in a big way. If you go for Centaur, for example, getting those raids in can be really strong. If you go for Athena, you can kind of make it more like a Heimdall style as well, trying to put some significant pressure onto your opponent, and we'll see how that's all going to go here. As well, ShadowFaxx is a fairly seasoned Norse player. He does prefer to play Thor a lot of the times, though. But it's just going to be going with his Odin for now. Odin definitely really strong competitive Mega Random for a few reasons. One being Great Hunt means he's going to have a much more consistent early game. If he gets kind of a weak food spawn to start, he can Great Hunt that and then be okay. Other option is that he gets Ravens, which means he can scout out the entire map and have a really consistent early game in terms of aggression, knowing exactly where he needs to fight. Whereas Thor, yeah, Thor's got the Dwarven Mind, which can mean he can have a really strong start if he has a good map, and there is that portion to him which is really strong. But the thing that's a little bit weak about him is he's probably going to have to go double Ulfsark most of the time to scout out the map and get some consistency with his early game. And that slows down his classical age and slows down his base just a little bit. And now we see a smart move here from ShadowFaxx. He's moving out of his base. He's leaving himself 10 gazelle, which is 1,500 food in his main base. Leaving that, moving forward, going to be eating these water buffalo. And the reason this is smart is because his opponent is going to have a really strong early game to push in and push off of Hunt. And if that so happens, then ShadowFaxx can just live the dream, sit in his base, and not lose too many villagers here. Now, the big question here for Gaboo is, what is Gaboo going to be doing? He's got two choices effectively, but both of those choices then have extra choices to be made inside of those choices. It's like choice inception. Not really. Choice within a choice. So he can pick Athena and he can go for Hoplite Toxotes, but he could also pick Athena, go for 2 Town Center. He could also pick Athena, go for Minotaur or Bull Minotaur Toxotes, which is a strategy that is very strong on high hunt maps. We don't see it very often, but it is very strong. And those are kind of the options where that's concerned. Or he can pick Hermes. He can go for Centaur Fast Mythic. He can go for Hoplite Centaur. He can go for Hippocon Centaur as his options there. We are seeing Hermes as the god of choice here. And how many villagers on wood? We've got 5 villagers on wood thus far. 5 villagers on food here, potentially. He's got 8 villagers on food. So I'm a bit confused about what he wants to do. If he's going for Centaur, he should throw 3 villagers, 2 villagers on the temple, and 8 villagers on wood. The rest go on to food. So he has got those 8 villagers on wood, so he's pretty aware of that starting amount of wood he needs, because he's wanting to get Sylvan Law. He's going to want to get those Centaur. And to me, with 7 villagers on food, it looks to be something similar to the Hoplite strategy. If he's going for something else, he's probably going to need a little bit more on a different resource yet. So we'll see what's going to happen. He's getting himself his Jason. ShadowFaxx, on the other hand, going through Freya, throwing houses up, making sure his base is really nice and defended. You do have to be pretty careful what you're trying to defend against. So if you see Athena, you have to make sure you get those walls up and defend. If you see Hermes, you have to go, well, better throw up some more aggressive defensive walls in a way. So maybe over here would be a good play, over here, all of that stuff to just prevent that. We do see an early forest fire through for ShadowFaxx. Doesn't do any real damage, kills 50 wood, but Gaboo just going to move. I'm surprised he actually builds this storehouse down when he's got this one over here, because it's not really necessary, and that's going to slow Gaboo down a little bit here as Sylvan Law is coming through. The Centaur is wandering through as well, so he will have to bolt the Valkyrie though, as he's taking a lot of damage on this center. You cannot lose these, as we do see one center goes down. The center going to be retreating away. You see the Jason has been greeted by ShadowFaxx's Herser here. As what does ShadowFaxx have in this one? He's got himself the Kopesh of Horus. This is a huge relic, gives 100% bonus damage for heroes against myth units, which means that the Hersers are going to be doing an extra 8.8 damage against those Centaur every time they hit him. But Sylvan Law has come through, and the problem is that even with this relic, it's hard to start hitting those Centaur. But we do see one whack coming in, two whacks coming in, three whacks coming in, four, and it's dead. Basically 3 HP remaining, and ShadowFaxx is going to attempt to catch that one, but not going to be able to quite do so. We see the relic has been dropped here as Gaboo says, no, I want that relic. I'm going to grab it, snatch it away from you, wander back home, see if we can get there. We do see a Herser coming in onto this location over here. Do we see any barracks coming down for Gaboo? Not just yet, so this might be more of the pure Centaur variant with just straight teching behind it, which is very, very strong if you can manage it correctly. But at this point, you cannot really lose anything. We are seeing military academies. So what you can see right now from Gaboo is he's got himself a ton of food in the bank and a ton of gold. So when it comes down to it, ordering is so incredibly important in this matchup with this strategy. You need to make sure your military academy comes down early so you can be spending those resources straight away. Otherwise, you have to throw down multiple military academies to spend your resources. As we see a Centaur coming out as well for Gaboo, as Gaboo's Centaur swinging around this location, trying to find something to attack here. One stray raiding cavalry might end up meeting its doom here. If he's not careful, looks like not even going to bother. Raiding cavalry just going to be looking for some villager kills, and Gaboo going to be trying to find some kills in the main base of ShadowFaxx, as more Centaur coming out here for Gaboo. ShadowFaxx with pretty low resources himself here, but now the Centaur looking very, very scary. I'm trying to pick off a dwarf here, but it does take an extra shot to kill off a beautiful micro there. Only losing one shot there to that dwarf, wasting that special ability, jumping into the tower super fast. ShadowFaxx is one of the has some of the fastest reaction speed out of anyone I've seen in Asian mythology. So it's really, really tough to get villager kills on him, as ShadowFaxx spots these villagers on this wood line, going to be going after them here. The villagers do decide to turn around, start shanking, but an attempt at micro here from ShadowFaxx will pick off 2 villagers, going after a third. We see the hoplites coming through here. Another villager going to be getting picked off, and the raiders get away without losing a single raider. So that's a huge raid there for ShadowFaxx. And now, because of the Odin bonus of regeneration, ShadowFaxx can just pull away, heal up those raiders over time, and then have no real problems. Because of that, we see some more walls coming down for ShadowFaxx as he's trying to make the map a little bit more challenging for Gaboo to get raids in here. As really, where can he go with these bad boys? I mean, he can snipe off the raiding cavalry, which would be a good idea here, as we are seeing a second town center now coming down for Gaboo. So this is the strategy here for Gaboo, trying to just macro his way into the late game, as it were. Very, very tough for a Norse player to beat a Greek player in the late game. So a lot of the times it can seem fairly tempting to go for fast second town centers or go for early second town centers. I wouldn't say this is a fast town center, but go for early second town centers in order to get that economy going so you can have a good chance of getting to the late game. But the problem that you end up landing in is that the Norse players' timings are so absurdly strong that it can be really, really tough to deal with them here, as ShadowFaxx is going to just basically be able to go mass raiding cavalry, get himself Thundering Hooves at some point. Does he have it already? Yeah, he's got Thundering Hooves already, which means that his Valkyrie go speedy as well. Going to be starting to shank down some of these Centaur that are getting caught out here. We see a beautiful attempt at a surround here. 1 dead Centaur, 2 dead Centaurs just about to happen here. 3 dead Centaurs. The 4th one not going to be getting out. The Centaurs are pretty drunk when it comes to their pathfinding. They cannot get out easily at all. And, well, that's a sad state of affairs there for Gaboo's Centaur right now. As one raiding cavalry is probably going to be enough to chase this Centaur down and take him out, as now ShadowFaxx can just kind of go soup style in a way and just mass raiders, and it's going to be really tough for ShadowFaxx to really do anything here, as the dead Odysseus over here going to be, or Jason going to be going down fairly fast. ShadowFaxx has to be a little bit careful as the hoplites pretty strong here, can take out these raiding cavalry fairly easily, and ShadowFaxx does opt to go for a second town center right now, and he is having to go into this gold mine, so there is a bit of a timing here for Gaboo. Gaboo's at, how much population is he at? He's at 73 of 90. If he had macroed this a little bit better, didn't lose those Centaur, and just went for an all-in on this gold mine, things could have been much, much different here, because now ShadowFaxx on this gold mine, very open at this point for those Centaur raids, as ShadowFaxx gets himself this town center over here. He does have a handful of Hersa on this location, as the raiding cavalry are going to be looking for something to take down. The Centaur does pop out for Gaboo on this location now. He's getting a couple more out. ShadowFaxx is plenty of resources. He's no longer building villages, though. I'm not sure if that was a mistake or not from his part, as now the Hersa coming onto this position are kind of not really matched up for that fight, as the raiders do spot these villagers over here. They're getting pulled off of that wood line. The raiders flowing in, charging in onto this position, might be able to pick off a Centaur or 2 over here as well, especially with the help of that Valkyrie, but Gaboo micros it nicely, going to be pulling away. ShadowFaxx searching for something else to do here, is now ShadowFaxx onto food as well, onto hunt that he wasn't eating earlier in the game. Just a handful of farms have been thrown down here, as the raiders spot these villagers over here as well. We see watchtowers coming through, but that doesn't matter all too much. The villagers can just jump into that watchtower though, and be very, very safe here. So we do see the Valkyrie going after the Centaur. She does so much damage to these Centaurs. ShadowFaxx is opting to take this fight here, which might be a good idea for him if he can pick off these Centaurs. There's not a whole lot of hoplites here, so he's going to go down fairly fast. You see one more potentially going to be falling here, one going down here as well, and there it goes. Nice play there from ShadowFaxx to pick off all those Centaur, but he does lose a lot of raiding cavalry for it. ShadowFaxx at 110 population, Gaboo's at 89 population here. Good resources in the bank though for ShadowFaxx. Gaboo currently housed though, and he needs to work that out, sort that out. He's throwing down some archery ranges, military academies. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to just go mass hoplites here, because there's not really too many throwing axemen that have been made here. But he's definitely going to be trying those archery range units. Toxotes here, as you can see another raid coming through for ShadowFaxx. Picks off a handful of villagers here, coming back into the main base here, jumping into that town center as best as he can. And Gaboo at this point still housed. Is he building houses anywhere? I don't see them. He's got plenty of wood in the bank. He's just kind of not noticing that his house going for a 3rd town center. This is incredibly ballsy by Gaboo here. ShadowFaxx on the other hand, he's just full units. He can actually consider just rushing this town center down in a big way, as Gaboo's army is not in position here, but ShadowFaxx just going to take his time here. Does he have an armory? No armory just yet, but he is throwing it up, so he's definitely thinking about going to the heroic age here, as now the raiding cavalry going to be swinging around to try and take down the town center that is on this position here. As well, let's just have we have the zoomies, and they're looking to take this down. The army again out of position here, and ShadowFaxx plenty of units. He's got himself Skadi coming through. Thank you so much for the 12-month Strauss house, our anniversary. Where do you want to go? We go out for some fine some fine tea. I don't know. Thank you so much for the consistent support, my friend. As now we see the town center getting targeted down, the hoplites going to be making their way over onto this location here. Frost will be available here, it seems, for ShadowFaxx, as well as the town center is going to definitely be looking like it's going to fall here. As the villagers do pop out trying to repair this one as he's waiting for the hoplites to come in. It looks like ShadowFaxx doesn't care too much. He does decide to turn around and take this fight. Instead, the Herso do manage to get onto the center here as they do get pulled back. There are a handful of throwing axemen to help out, but this doesn't look like a great fight for ShadowFaxx at all, as Gaboo is holding nicely here with his Zeus as the town center stands strong. But Gaboo, and ShadowFaxx is through Skadi, but man, Gaboo's making this look nice here, as Skadi does hit. Lots of resources in the bank for ShadowFaxx, so we might be looking to get a really, really early Mythic Age off of 2 town centers. Do we see a market getting thrown up anywhere? The throwing axeman over here, I don't see any attempt at a market just yet, but ShadowFaxx loves the early tier in this matchup, casting that Fimbulwinter in order to get serious damage done to his opponent's economy. As the raiding cavalry are going to be retreating back, we see some frost giants getting built here. Do we see any upgrades? Yeah, okay. So ShadowFaxx is getting himself his heavy raiders here as well to help him continue through in this game. Heavy raiders, such a big ticket upgrade. They make them feel like knights in a big way, as the centaur do get caught out here. Frost Giant does hit this location, getting a kill on that centaur there. And Gaboo has to pull back, so we're trying to hold on a little bit. We'll see if Gaboo is going to be able to hit the heroic age anytime soon. Still trying to pump those units out as best as he can. He is now starting to build those farms, finishing up that gold mine in the home base, mining the gold mine on the front of this base over here, eating the zebra over here as well in a big way. As now the Jason and Odysseus coming forward, going to try and deal with these frost giants as well. How's ShadowFaxx doing for resources now? He's very low on the resources, but he does push in onto this position over here. He spots this gold mine. Even another cheeky raid here onto Gaboo's resources. Gaboo not paying attention here, not retreating away, going to be losing a healthy amount of villagers here, it would seem, as too much is going on. We see a frost giant onto the raiding the food situation over here, which is going to get some good damage. We see Gaboo turning around and trying to fight. This is not something you want to be doing against heavy raiders. Those heavy raiders look like soldiers of steel for a reason. They do not die quickly to villagers at all. As now we see a hill fort coming up for ShadowFaxx over here. A couple of dead villagers, and in that moment, Gaboo does decide it is all lost for him. I think maybe a little bit of an early resign, because he does have ceasefire. Obviously wants to save that ceasefire for Frost, but you can always cast. I think the more prevalent or the smarter option here for Gaboo would have been to cast Ceasefire, try and get to the heroic age, and use Underworld onto this gold mine over here, for example, to force a defensive frost instead of an offensive frost onto his villagers, and something like that could have been a way to go here for Gaboo, but he didn't quite do it. ShadowFaxx a little bit too strong here in this game, but Gaboo did make his Zeus look like a threatening foe here, so scaring ShadowFaxx a little bit, because ShadowFaxx would have been going into this series thinking, oh, it's just a Loki main. Sure, he might get a win with this Loki, but there's no way he's going to take a game with an off civilization. But Gaboo almost made it work here. Well played by ShadowFaxx, though. We've got a game number 3 for you guys. Now, if you guys are enjoying these games, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next game.